Hey, what's up guys, John here. Two of Canada's largest railroads just went on strike.
Canada's two main railway companies shutting down overnight.
For the first time since both companies were founded more than 100 years ago, both Canadian Pacific and Canadian National Railways are not running.
These railroad companies employ 9,000 workers.
With more than 9,000 workers locked out of a core part of the Canadian economy.
And CNN and other outlets are warning us that we could see food shortages, fertilizer shortages for farmers, auto parts being delayed, even going as far as saying automakers might have to shut down plants over this.
$1 billion a day in goods that move across the railways nationally. Many chemicals haven't been moving for a number of days. Harvest season is coming up or started for some farmers across the country. They're not going to be able to move their goods to port and get them out the door.
Now, when you look at this one story, you might say, wow, the odds of that happening, 1 in a million. But hey, we live in a 1 in a million kind of world. But then you look at this scenario, what's happening with Halliburton, one of the world's largest oil producers, and this oil company is generating $23 billion in revenue last year, employing 48,000 workers. They are now getting hit with a cyber attack. Then, on top of this, you look at what unfolded, call it the last 120 days. Francis Scott Key Bridge fell, a lot of shipping, a lot of distribution is getting rerouted to the West Coast. You look at Arkansas, that bridge fell. You look at Minnesota, they had a bridge fall there. You look at the Red Sea, they have disruptions right now. Look at the Panama Canal, disruptions. What you're seeing are supply chain problems that are in the works right now that we're all going to feel over the next 60 to 90 days. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's going on to help you and position you. I'm going to share material facts that you can use to make better decisions, potentially with buying maybe some stuff that you might need at the house. Maybe some, I'm not saying to go out there and stockpile, I'm not saying that at all, but you might need some things, maybe shoes, toothbrushes, things for the house that you should maybe buy now, because I think prices are likely going to be going up, and I think we're going to likely see a lot of change unfolding in the eyes of consumers when they look out at these grocery store shelves and other shelves at Costco and they see a lot less available to purchase. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube will share this content, educate more people about what's happening in America's economy. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself what I believe is going to be the greatest wealth transfer in American history, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free call for tomorrow. Check out reviews on Trustpilot. Take a look at this. So this is crazy. Canadian freight railroads shut down, dealing with a potential blow to the North American economy. Canada's two major freight railroads have shut down their operations, according to management of two companies, locking out 9,000 members of Teamsters Union who operate the trains and dealing with a potential blow to Canada and U.S. economies. Nearly a third of the freight handled by these two railroads, Canadian National and Canadian Pacific Kansas City Southern, crosses the U.S.-Canadian border, and this shutdown could disrupt operations in a number of U.S. industries, including agriculture, autos, home building, energy. Now, the fact that this happened, same day, right? Oil industry giant Halliburton confirms issue following a reported cyber attack as first reported by Reuters. The multinational was hit by the attack on Wednesday, with the incident appearing to impact operations at its headquarters in Houston. It is not clear if operations at the company's other locations also affected. Shares in Halliburton, which employ 48,000 people globally, recorded revenues of $23 billion, were largely flat Thursday morning on the New York Stock Exchange. The company provides services such as identifying oil and gas resources, assisting the owners to manage the extraction process. It has been a major partner to Russia. I mean, you start looking at this, this is a big problem. So as that's happening, they also say that it's acting to protect Canada's supply chains and all stakeholders from further uncertainty and more widespread disruptions that could be created should the dispute drag out further, resulting in a potential work stoppage occurring during the fall peak shipping period. Thursday statement shortly after the start of the lookout at 12:01 a.m. delaying resolution to this labor dispute will only make things worse. They say the shutdown will drive home how closely linked the two nations' economies are, with many industries depending on the free movement of goods across the border. And they say auto part plants could temporarily shut down if they are unable to get engines, transmissions, and stampings done at Canadian plants. U.S. farmers might find shortages of fertilizer, and U.S. water treatment plants near the Canadian border could run out of chlorine they use to purify water. They say this is the first time this has happened, right? So you look at all these things. You look at all these things happening. It's like 1 in a million. Then this came out just, I would call it 12 days ago, or not even a week ago, on the 16th. On the 16th, they said that suppliers navigate shipping issues while pricing a 40-foot container appears to be stabilizing after jumping more than 80% in the past 3 months. Concerns about shipping and the supply chain remain. And look at this. For example, it is possible seaport strikes could break out on the East and Gulf Coast, where contracts with unionized workers are set to expire on the 30th. On the 30th of next month. So 5 weeks from now, you have this potential crisis. Then you have these railroads. This is huge. And then just in the last 120 days, you had Baltimore-Francisco Bridge. You had Arkansas collapse. You had Minnesota. You have all these problems that are happening. It's I believe, a big problem that we're walking into. Now, Mayer says Red Sea shipping disruption having global effects. This just came out about a month and a half ago. They said that Stockholm, Denmark AP said on Wednesday that disruption to its container shipping via Red Sea has extended beyond trade routes in Far East and Europe to its entire global network. Shipping groups have diverted vessels around Africa's Cape. Now you think about what's happening in Africa right now. Africa is walking into a big problem with this, where we could see delays unfolding there. And not just delays, we could see other ships getting rerouted. And they go on to say that shipping groups have diverted from there, right, to avoid attacks in the Red Sea. Now, not just there, but if you look at what's happening in the Panama Canal, they say that the Panama Canal transit restrictions, and they blame it on this drought driven by a combination of El Nino and climate, right? So you start to just add everything up. How do prices stay where they are right now? How? We're going to likely see more dollars chasing fewer goods, meaning supply and demand are going to dictate and determine price. That's what's going to happen. We're going to see prices continue to pick up. And it's a really big problem. Panama displaces 2,000 farmers. This was just a week and a half ago, right? A week ago. They say Panamanian authorities are creating a water reservoir to bolster the parched Panama Canal. Despite opposition from environmentalists, critics say the project would displace 2,000 mostly poor farmers who would also lose the land they depend on. However, proponents argue that the affected communities would be compensated and insist the project is indispensable to secure the future of the canal, though the number of crossings has plummeted amid a historic drought, and which generates a large share of Panama's GDP. The past 20 years have been totally different than the previous 80 years, because climate has, in crescendo, had an impact much different. Now, you just look at it. Look at everything that's unfolding, right? When you see what's happening in all of these different locations, you start to look at what's happening with energy. There's just no way that we're likely going to be, smooth sailing back to 2018, 2019. I wish that was the case. I mean, I think a lot of people look back on those years and they think there was the glory times, right? We're going to be walking into a situation, I believe, that it's going to be a more expensive world, a much more expensive world in the short term. I would imagine the next 12 to 24 months, things are going to get radically more expensive, and we're going to start to see restrictions and changes throughout the global economy to likes in which we've never before seen. When they have conversations about, fixing prices at grocery stores, and how would that work? How would that or any of these policies work in an era of, greatly reduced supply chains, of massive disruption? It wouldn't. You would start to see a lot of these companies greatly pulling back, and we would just start to see a world of hurt, I believe, coming to the economy with those changes, not to mention all of these changes. Now, I believe inside periods of major disruption, inside of these periods of the world, great wealth is consolidated. We're walking into not just a great wealth transfer, but the great wealth consolidation, where the wealth of the middle class and the lower income is going to get pushed to the top. Because you start to think about this. Lower and middle income, what are they going to do? They're going to take out their credit card and swipe it, regardless of the price. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to accumulate more and more credit card debt. and they're likely going to default as the economy starts to change. I mean, right now, 40% of Americans are behind on at least one bill. It's major, not to mention all of these problems. And so you start to think about it. They're going to start defaulting. The repossessions will likely increase. You start to see people walking away from the properties. I think we're going to walk into something major here in America. But I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think we're walking into the greatest wealth transfer in American history? Do you think we're going to start to see all of these problems add up and come together as one major crisis, and our supply chains fall apart with it? Goes America. Let's have a conversation about this below. I'm not saying this to, get anyone spooked or scare anyone, but just look at material facts. I heard a saying a very, very long time ago, smart people see things for how they really are, and everyone else sees things for how they want them to be. You look at this, you look at the Red Sea, the Panama Canal, you look at all the, the world as a whole, you'll realize that, things are probably going to get a lot harder in the short term. Let's talk about this below. If you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you. At my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, closures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative or derogatory item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free call for tomorrow before the weekend. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. Catch you next video.